the former Coal Secretary and Education Secretary Anil Swarup there, taking us through what he makes of the appointments that have come in. But those are the key headlines. Continuity in a lot of the key economic ministries outside of the big one, which is the Finance Ministry, and that has thrown up a surprise. The speculation till literally about, 10 minutes ago was that it was going to be Amit Shah, that it was clear that it is going to be Amit Shah that will take this position at North Block, but it is Nirmala Sitharaman, who has held previously the charge of Commerce Minister and Defence Minister, who now takes over at North Block. We are given to understand that she will take charge in a short while from now, ahead of that cabinet meeting, which is set up for 5 p.m. Piyush Goyal appointed the Commerce Minister, and he also gets the Railway Ministry. Hardeep Singh Puri has a slew of portfolios, including the one that he retains, which is urban development. He also gets aviation, and he gets Commerce as Minister of State. R.K. Singh has been appointed the Power Minister, so that's the ministry that he retains. Of course, Corporate Affairs and Minister of State for Finance, Anurag Thakur. Again, a very unconventional choice there of Anurag Thakur making his way into North Block. So that's going to be one to watch out for. Lots of experience on the cricket side of things for Anurag Thakur. So it's going to be a different pitch for him.
No, I think so. The clear winners stand out. Nirmala Sitharaman, of course, the biggest winner.
The biggest winner. Undoubtedly, the biggest winner.
It's a for Anurag, I think it's he's 44 years old. Of course, we all know him from IPL, of course, and it's it's a big promotion for him as well. Just a word, by the way, on the market, Shireen, the dollar rupee has lost some of its gains. In fact, I don't know if the market's now latching onto the global cues for now, because there's a bit of a move happening in the currency, and IT stocks are moving higher while financial stocks are moving lower. So that's just perhaps the event done now, and of course, we had a bit of a mini climax 1 hour back when you saw that big intraday decline in the market, and now, of course, the news is official, and now you're seeing the market also very volatile. And just look at the volumes today, very high volumes in the F&O market. Considering it's the first day of new series, we have 6 lakh crores of volumes and 28,000 crores in the cash market. I don't recall when was the last time we had these kind of volumes on the first day of new series.
Also now, since you did point out that the market is going to look global, a lot of the global markets have reached the low point of trade. So the DAX is now down almost 200 points. The FTSE is down about 100 points. The Dow futures are down 250. So Anuj, now that this local event is completely out of the way, the market has started to actually fall. You think it's not, the risk reward is not favorable for a long now?
No, that could happen, Sonia, but I'll tell you one thing, there's still a couple of important domestic events. I think from tomorrow, all the talk will be about the RBI monetary policy, and whether there's going to be, there's some talk of whether for the first time we'll have somewhere in between a 25 and 50 basis point rate cut, somewhere in between, say 30-35 basis point rate cut, something like that perhaps could happen.
Well, unconventional things are
exactly, and with this government, the ability to surprise is there, so obviously.
Except that that's the MPC and not the government. So let's not mix those two up. But but Shaktikanta Das has gone on record to say that why do we have to move in these 25 point sort of ranges? So he did bring this up a few weeks ago as well.
Yes, so I mean, let's see. And after that, of course, budget. It will be in first week of July. So I think we have still domestic events lined up. There's a good chance of our market still outperforming, even if the global market is like this. Of course, if there's complete collapse in global market, then the jury is out. But otherwise, I think today the market is just taking some profit, because also the market's base case did not happen, which is Amit Shah coming as finance minister. So there's some profit taking, some selling because of that. Wherever it stabilizes, perhaps one more round of uptake, and this unfinished business of closing about 12,000, I think is still left.
Okay, well, let's savor the moment a bit. Nirmala Sitharaman appointed as the finance minister. So the first woman finance minister technically to hold the portfolio.
And, absolutely.
Shattering glass ceilings all the way.
Yes, absolutely. And it will be Nirmala Sitharaman presenting the union budget come the first week of July. So that's going to be...
So Anuj, now you're not only stuck with an all-woman team, you're also stuck with a woman who'll have to watch for many, many hours.
I'm in office, at home. It's just all women.
It doesn't get any better. It doesn't get any better, does it?
But you know what, just to put it on board, I mean, for our viewers, extremely educated, a BA in economics, MA in economics, MPhil in economics, assistant to the Economist, Agricultural Engineering Association UK, senior manager at R&D Price Waterhouse, Commerce Minister India, Defence Minister India. You know, it's an extremely educated person at the helm, and of course managed her portfolios, one of the best diplomatic minds in the country.
And her rebuttal to Rahul Gandhi, I think, in Parliament, for example, I think clearly, I mean, she is now seen as among the top 4 or 5 of this government. Absolutely,
she is. She's not seen. She is. She is.
She has made a mark, of course.
Absolutely, she is. I mean, in the hierarchy of portfolios, you know, the finance is the third most important. And for all practical purposes, it is the most important because it controls the purse string. So it is the most important. So without a doubt, I mean, this is a stunning elevation for Nirmala Sitharaman. In fact, even when she moved from commerce to defence, and again, that was an unconventional choice. You know, people saw that as an unconventional choice.
Yeah, that image, you remember when, you know, all the the heads of defense, you know, are
and
there.
She was
sitting. Obviously, that was the most powerful image.
Absolutely, and from there now to take over from Arun Jaitley as finance minister, I think that's quite a journey there as far as Nirmala Sitharaman is concerned. We've got Baba Kalyani, the chairman of Bharat Forge, also the man who's given his recommendations as part of a committee on how the government can try and make over special economic zones. Mr. Kalyani, thanks very much for joining us. Well, India has a new finance minister and a new defense minister. Let me start by asking you for your comments on Nirmala Sitharaman as India's new finance minister.
Well, you know, she has a lot of experience, so I'm sure we will see a lot of things happening.
In your interactions with her, Mr. Kalyani, how would you think she would be as a finance minister?
I think she will be good. She is very good at her job. She did a good job when she was defense minister. We have had good interactions with her. So she has experience. She has knowledge. So with both of that, I think you know, she will be able to do what is required to be done.
Absolutely. Just a quick word, sir, also on the defence portfolio, because the defence portfolio now moves to Rajnath Singh. He has been appointed the defence minister, moving from home to defence.
Yeah.
Just a quick word on what you think will now be the unfinished agenda that Mr. Singh will have to take forward.
You know, as I said yesterday to your channel, a lot of policy initiatives have been put into place in the last few years by the Prime Minister, by Prime Minister Modi, both in terms of defense procurement, defense production, defense processes. A lot of learning has taken place by the system, by industry, and therefore I think all this will come together hopefully in this term, and we should see a lot more acceleration in creating a very strong and stable defense industry in India.
So we do have the first cabinet meeting that takes place at 5 p.m. later this evening, Mr. Kalyani. You know, if you remember in 2014 in the first cabinet meeting, there was that explosive special investigation team that was created to solve all the black money issues, etc. This time around, what would you expect? What are the top 2 or 3 steps that you expect the government would announce?
I think the focus will be on the economy. The focus will be on the rural sector, the agricultural sector, and you know, the whole process of how do you create an inclusive growth, and what are the drivers for this inclusive growth. And I would think that will be the focus.
Mr. Kalyani, you know, I want to pick up on the recommendations that you've made, sir, because now we have 2 men in the Commerce Ministry, Piyush Goyal, and the Minister of State for Commerce is Hardeep Puri, a man who's very well versed with foreign affairs. So that is going to be an important ministry as well. Now, the recommendations that you've made in terms of making over special economic zones, linked to also what Surjit Bhalla's committee has proposed to boosting exports, doubling them by 2025, and of course that new industrial policy that we're waiting for. What would the expectation be there, sir?
I think the recommendations by and large have been discussed very in depth with the Commerce Ministry, its officials, etc. And it's been done with a consensus of industry, the government, and everybody involved. And the recommendations are largely to create an enabling process which gets rid of all the restrictions which kind of act as speed breakers to growth. And therefore, the focus on that recommendation was more on investment, more on job creation, and how do you use these zones to do all these things. So we have to wait and watch what the new government will do.
Okay, well, we can only speculate until we get more concrete news on that. But what is your view on what's happening on the ground? We will be getting the GDP numbers later this evening. The expectation is that in Q4 it could fall to as low as 6.3% versus, 8% same time last year. Mr. Kalyani, are there any green shoots at all, or do you think it's going to be a while before things recover on the ground?
My own feeling, as I said yesterday, is now that we have a strong leadership in the center, we have a government that's led by Prime Minister Modi. He's got a fantastic cabinet with a lot of experience, a lot of inclusiveness, and there is an agenda that he has set for the country. And I think we pretty much need to take that agenda as a direction